let's talk about how to invest in Pokemon cards using PSA to increase the value of your collection. Where you decide to spend your investment money is a very important decision, and at the heart of that decision is how much you expect your ROI, or return on investment, to be. Basically, how much can you make with what you have right now? This is not a 101 on investment basics. I'm assuming you know a little bit about economic growth. Listen, if you know how to do math, you can learn how to make money. I want to walk you through my 4-step process of investing in Pokemon cards with PSA. Step 1, research. This is the most important step, so don't skip it. Sending in any card that you think has value to PSA to get graded does not guarantee that you will have a positive return. You have to make sure that your card has value both in its raw state and in its potential grade. You can get started doing this by researching prices on resale sites. eBay and TCG Player are the biggest resale sites for trading cards out there, and eBay has recently released a stat saying that one card sells every second on their website. So it is a massive platform for you to sell Pokemon cards on. eBay and TCG Player also list recent sales history, so you can go in and see what cards are selling for how much. A website I also like to use is called Pokedata.io, which releases an accumulation of sales data per marketplace per card. So you can go in and see which cards are selling on which marketplaces and for how much. So let's use this website to look up a base set unlimited Venusaur and see what it's worth in its raw state and what it could potentially be worth after it's graded. Now this website is really useful for uncovering all of the data points for all of the variations of a given card that you would want to look up. For example, on this base set unlimited Venusaur, we can see that the most recent sale on eBay went for $41.32, while the TCG Player market value for this card is $84.58. Now there's a lot of nuance there because we don't know what the given conditions for those cards are based off of the data here. However, when we look into PSA, we can see that a PSA 10 for this card sells for over $1,000, while a PSA 9 for this card sells for just about $270. PSA 8 sells for $179. PSA 7 most recently sold for $85, and this is where it's interesting as well. The most recent PSA 6 sale went for $110. So there's nuance there as well. If I'm selling a PSA 7 right now and I see that the most recent PSA 6 went for $110, I am not selling this PSA 7 for less than $110. This leads us into step 2, math. Start by making a spreadsheet. A spreadsheet is going to be your best friend in this process. Here's my example. This is a template that I use for every sale that I make, whether it is a raw card or a graded card. You want to make sure that you have key fields such as the card name, the cost that you spent on the card, your purchase price, your expected sale price, any fees involved in selling, shipping costs, and how much it cost to grade the card. Your margin is your final sale price minus all of the costs involved in selling that card. So let's start filling this out for the base set Venusaur that I have here. I purchased this card for $20, which is much lower than both the eBay and TCG Player market values. We are going to need to figure out what the sale price will be, but that's a little bit later on in the process. Fees are going to vary based on your marketplace. I sell on eBay, so it's going to be around 12%. Shipping costs are going to also vary depending on what you do. I normally have the buyer pay for the shipping label itself, and I cover the costs of the materials such as the envelope, the labels, etc. That'll be around 50 cents for me. Grading the card is going to cost around $20 individually as well. PSA has an $18 bulk special where you can send in a minimum of 25 cards. Shipping costs on top of that put each card, if you send in 25, around $20. So with the cost of the card and the cost for grading and selling, I'm around $40.50 in on this card. So I need to make more than that in order to turn a profit. Now this is where it gets hard, which leads us into step 3, which is examine. You can never know what grade you're going to get at PSA, so predicting your sale price is not a precise science. However, there are things you can do, such as measuring the centering and examining the card for any flaws. PSA has very clear grading standards for what makes a PSA 10, a PSA 9, a PSA 8, and so on. It's all listed on their website. I highly recommend you go through each grade to understand what makes a PSA 10, what makes a PSA 9, so that you can be prepared to send in your cards. As you examine your cards, I recommend you be harsher than what you expect PSA is going to grade. It's way better to undervalue your card and be surprised at a better grade than it is to overvalue and be disappointed with what you get. So using this Venusaur, let's measure and examine for any flaws that might be on the card. As far as centering goes, this card looks really good. It might be a little bit off left to right, but it should be within the margin for error that PSA uses on its 10s. However, I don't think this will get a 10 because I do see a nick along the top. And on the back, it looks pretty clean, although there is some slight whitening on the top left corner. Now, if you want to really get into this and be precise, you can actually measure the centering on the card. You can use a measuring tape to measure the distance between the borders to make sure that they're all even, or you can use a card centering tool like this one. I bought it on Amazon, it was pretty cheap. You simply place it over the card to make sure that the centering is on point. It's pretty simple. You just have to make sure that the edges of the centering tool are aligned with the edges of the card, and you can use it to measure. Using this centering tool, I can see that this solid black line matches up on the top and the bottom, which means that the centering from top to bottom is perfectly aligned. The same goes for this side, where the dotted line aligns pretty closely with the dotted line over on the left side. So I know that the centering left to right is off slightly. However, like I said before, it should be within the 60-40 margin for error that PSA gives centering. Based off of what I'm seeing right here and being harsher than what I think PSA is going to be, I would say that this card will grade at a 7. So let's go back to our spreadsheet, plug in that data, and see what we could get from this card. If it grades at a 7, and the most recent sale for a 6 was at 110, I'm not going to accept anything less than 110. So I'll just plug in 110 and assume that that's what I can sell this card as. Plugging that in there shows me that my margin on this card would be around $55. Now, since I bought it at $20 and the TCG market value for this card is around $80, that profit margin is almost exactly the same as it would be if I sold this raw on TCG Player. I don't know if I could sell it for exactly that on eBay, which is where I'm established as a seller, so I'm willing to send this into PSA knowing what I know, hoping for that 7, and I should return that margin either way. After all that's done, we go to step 4, which is repeat. I go back to steps 1 through 3 for as many cards as I need to in order to hit the minimum count for the submission to PSA. Since we are doing the bulk submission, I need 25 cards in order to hit that $18 per card submission mark. So I've done that here. I have 25 cards that I've assembled that I am about to send in to PSA. I want to walk you through the cards I have here, how much I've invested into this submission, and how much I'm hoping to get out of it. There is a mix of vintage and modern cards in here. All in, I've spent $1,050 on this submission. $400 for the vintage cards, $150 for the modern cards, and $500 on the submission to PSA. The modern cards come from my recent opening of the Charizard Ultra Premium Collection. I am sending in these 3 Charizard promos. Mine look really clean and I'm excited to see what grade I get back from them. Also from that box, I pulled this Raichu V Full Art from Brilliant Stars, this Sylveon VMAX from Evolving Skies, and my LGS was also selling Celebrations products with the Charizard UPC in order to move product that they had in store from a year ago. I pulled this Mewtwo EX from that Celebrations product. Those are the 6 modern cards I'm sending in with this submission. The rest are vintage cards, except the last one, which is a card my son is sending in along with me. Quickly going through the rest of these cards, I have this Japanese Erica's Venusaur from the Japanese Gym set, this Black Star promo Mewtwo, Blaine's Arcanine from Gym Challenge, this first edition Dark Magneton from Team Rocket, I have Vaporeon, Jolteon, and Flareon from Jungle. I have first edition Clefable and first edition Vileplume from Jungle. I have 2 base set unlimited Venusaurs. I have a base set Shadowless Hitmonchan, base set Shadowless Gyarados, a Dark Charizard from the Team Rocket set, a Lugia from Neo Genesis, a first edition Dark Gyarados from the Team Rocket set, a first edition Dragonite from Fossil, a first edition Zapdos from Fossil, and my son's card is a Hisuian Lilligant V that he pulled from the Astral Radiance set. 25 cards, all in at $1,050, and I'm estimating based off of the calculations I've done that I can earn anywhere between $2,500 and $3,500 from this submission. If I hit my minimum expected return of $2,500, I will be well over 100% on my ROI, which is absolutely wild when it comes to investing. If you put your money into a stock or a bond or a mutual fund or anything from your bank, you can expect to see a 1 to 7% ROI over a course of a year. So seeing that I can make over a 100% ROI investing in Pokemon cards is absolutely wild. Just, there is so much potential value in Pokemon cards, even still in 2022, moving into 2023. So if you have extra money that you're looking into putting into an investment and you want to do something fun, I recommend getting into Pokemon cards. It's a lot of fun. People like this. People like collecting these. People like playing with these. There is a great community, both online and in person, for people who love this product, and they're willing to spend a lot of money on it. I'm one of those people who is willing to spend a lot of money on this product. I am about to package these 25 cards up and send them into PSA. I will let you know when I get them back, and we'll go through card by card to see what the grades are and to see what the potential value for those cards could be. If we hit that $2,500 mark or more, we can celebrate. If not, all I really need to do on this submission is break even, and I've had a great time. All right, that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and leave me a comment below of how you invest in Pokemon cards, if you're interested in it or if you're already doing it. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.